Welcome to Mile High Reefers. I'm Scott Anderson, and today's video is not really going to be about fish. It's actually about the gear I use to shoot my fish tanks. So, a lot of you guys keep asking me, what gear am I using? So, today's video, we'll go over the gear I use and a little bit on how I use it. But to begin with, let's talk about the gear I used when I started, and you can kind of see the evolution of how I got to where I am. I first started shooting YouTube videos in 2012, and I was using this style of camera. At the time, cell phone cameras were still pretty crap. I was still rocking the original G1 Google phone, so this gave me better quality. But if you look at my first videos, the quality was absolute crap, and that's part of why. I then moved on to the Nikon Coolpix with the 42x zoom. It was a cool camera. It does a great job if you're into like bird photography or outdoor stuff, but for video, it kind of sucked. The video quality was okay, but the autofocus was terrible. So I really wouldn't recommend this style of camera to anybody. Maybe the Canon has a better focus system, but the Nikon Coolpix doesn't do it for aquarium video for me. But a couple years of my video was shot on this camera. I then moved on to the Canon Vixia HF R600, and this camera is actually pretty darn cool. It's got a 32x optical zoom. The other part of the zoom is digital, but it has a nice optical zoom, shoots 1080p, uses a standard SD card, and was like $200 new. I'm sure you can pick one up used much cheaper today. Super easy to use. Great autofocus. If you're looking for something with an optical zoom that's cheap, this is still a great option today. I couldn't tell you if they're making 4K versions of it today, but this is a really good way to go if you're on a budget and you're looking for that optical zoom so you can get in close on the back of your tank. And of course, the whole time I've been shooting videos, I've been using cell phones for B-roll footage and sometimes for the whole video. And I've used a lot of cell phones. So this is a Microsoft Lumia 550, it's a Windows phone. It was like a $30 phone while this one was broken. This is a Lumia 1520, which I absolutely adored, but it died. The camera on this thing was amazing, 20 megapixels. And there's my BlackBerry Priv, which was a great phone, but the camera wasn't that great. And then there's what I'm using today, which is the LG V20, which I absolutely love. And then there's the camera I'm shooting with today. This is the Panasonic G85. It's a 4K mirrorless camera, micro 4/3 mount, and I love this camera. It's definitely not a cheap option. This camera is about a $1,000 camera. It's got a $1,000 lens sitting on there. That is the 12 to 35 Lumix f2.8. Super nice lens. I've got the small rig cage on there so I can mount a light. This thing has proven to be a lifesaver. It just makes setting lights up super easy. I can use that instead of trying to carry something big like that around. So that's a really nice setup. And of course, I'm using the Canon camcorder because I'm trying to show you the big camera. And then for audio, I have a Saramonic wireless lapel mic hooked up to this. Today's video is actually the first time I'm using it. It's not the mic you're hearing right now, but so far, it seems like it's working really well. So I've got good audio, good lighting, good lens, good camera. Everything seems to be doing what I want. It's sitting on top of an Amazon Basics fluid head tripod, which honestly sucks. It's a big sturdy thing, but the fluid head on it's just terrible. It's jerky. I can't get the fluid images I'd like off of it. Definitely a case of I wish I would have spent a little more money and bought a better tripod. So lenses are kind of the heart of your camera system. I'm actually shooting this video right now on a vintage 50mm Minolta lens, which is pretty cool. But when I started shooting, I mainly used the kit lens, which is the 12 to 60. It's an okay lens, but it's like f3.5 to 4.5. The aperture is not constant, so it's not great. I've got a 45 to 200 when I need a bigger zoom. Mainly that's just for photography outside. These two lenses are the main ones I use. So this is the 12 to 35 f2.8, and it is a wonderful lens, nice and sharp, and I can't recommend it enough other than the fact that it's $1,000. I bought this used, so it was more like $500. And then I also have the 35 to 100, which is a fantastic portrait lens. It's also great for getting the stuff further back in the tank. And it's also an f2.8 constant aperture lens, and that lens new will also set you back about $1,000. And I also bought that one used for around 500 bucks. And then I also have an assortment of vintage lenses and cameras. I absolutely use the lenses with modern cameras, although I do not shoot the old film cameras. Film is just way too hard in 2017. As far as audio recording, I've put a lot of money into audio gear recently. The camera microphones are terrible, so I've used this Audio-Technica corded lapel mic, and it sounds good, but the 20-foot cord is just too big of a pain to use. On camera, I have a Rode Video Micro that I can mount up. It's a shotgun mic. Sounds pretty good, but if you get more than a couple feet away from the mic, you get a lot of background noise, so it's kind of a pain. And then we've got the new Saramonic wireless mic. So that's what I'm actually recording on now, is the wireless lapel mic. You saw me use this one at the beginning of the video, and today's the first time I'm using them. These mics are about $400 for the pair, plus what mounts on top of the camera. So $400 set. This mic was like 60 bucks. That one's like 35. So good audio does cost money. Hopefully from now on, my audio will be a lot better. To edit the video that comes off of my camera, I've got an MSI Leopard laptop. It's got a 6700 i5 in it and the NVIDIA GTX 960M graphics card. It's about 2 years old. It's still doing the job, and I edit everything using Premiere Pro. It does have a 2 terabyte hard drive to hold the massive 4K files, and it's also got a smaller 256 gig hard drive to run the programs like Premiere that need to run faster. Now, that being said, computers are probably my weakest point of camera gear. I really just don't know them as well as I should. And here's actually where I edit all my video. It's just a simple L-shaped glass desk. I've got my laptop. I've got the blue microphone. These blue mics are great for voiceover. They're like 50 bucks, so they're inexpensive, and the sound quality is great for voiceover. And then I've also got the USB 3.0 card reader. This 3.0 card reader saves like 10 minutes over the built-in USB 2.0 card reader in the computer. So using the 3.0 saves me like 10 minutes when I'm transferring like 20 gigs worth of video, which is what 4K can do to you. So there we have it. There's all the gear I use and have used to put together my Mile High Reefers YouTube channel. Now, can you do it a lot cheaper and easier? Sure. Get an iPhone. You can edit on your iPhone. You can shoot on your iPhone. You can get wonderful video quality. I always shout out to CJ's Aquarium because he does everything on an iPhone, and it's amazing. But for me, the photography and the video side of things is almost as big of a hobby to me as the reef tank itself. So for me, this is fun. This is what I do.
Hey Dad, it's not 2016. Update your calendar. Thanks for watching this episode of My Hall Reefers. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace!